Hey, World Entertainment, and here's an interesting story. I remember hearing about this a while ago, like a good long time ago, but now we're getting a big update, which is ironic for what the movie is, but they are remaking Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. It's going to star Margot Robbie in the lead role, and Tim Burton is going to direct it, but now we have who's going to write this thing as well. So this thing does seem to be moving forward. Now, I remember hearing a while ago that they were going to make the remake of the 50-Foot Woman, and Margot Robbie was attached at that time. I don't remember them talking about Tim Burton or not. I'm not even sure if I made a video on them. I may have. But this seems to be moving forward, and who they got to write this, I think people will kind of go, okay, I can see that working. So let's dive into this. So it's saying, the writers behind the hit animated film K-Pop Demon Hunters will be writing the screenplay for Tim Burton's remake of the cult classic science fiction film Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. So there's where kind of the interesting part comes in, that the people who wrote K-Pop Demon Hunter, which was an absolute smash hit, are writing this. So the upcoming remake of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman will star Margot Robbie. Burton will be directing the project and serving as a producer alongside Andrew Mittman, Tommy Harper, and Lucky Chap Entertainment. Executive producers, blah blah blah. It just goes on about who's produced it and stuff, who cares. The original film of the same name came out in 1958. It followed the story of a wealthy heiress who was recently released from a mental institution and turned into a giant. She then confronts her unfaithful husband and his gold-digging mistress. The remake began development in 2024, and an old version of the script was written by Gone Girl screenwriter Gillian Flynn. So, I don't remember only being 2024 when they announced it. I could have sworn it was a bit longer than that, but okay. So, how do you pronounce these? Gemazine or something, and McCain expressed their excitement for Attack of the 50-Foot Woman in an exclusive statement to The Hollywood Reporter. They stated that they loved the concept of the film and how it brings girl power to a whole new level. That part's a bit concerning. A giant woman seeking revenge on her cheating husband and his affair partner is both comedic and empowering. They added that the theme is also very relatable for a lot of people who have dealt with infidelity in the past. There's stuff in there that you're kind of going, okay, the comedic part and stuff like that, okay, that's all fine. It's just kind of the girl power part is where you're kind of going, just watch the original movie and you'll see, like, it's not really this kind of girl power, go girls type of thing, you know what I mean? So they said, we're obsessed with the idea of a 50-foot woman wreaking havoc because a man did her dirty. We have a feeling a lot of people will relate. Yeah, okay, but at the same time, you can't go into the process with the frame of mind of, oh, we can't wait because the man did her dirty and stuff like that, because you can't write a story where you're going to alienate half your audience. It has to be for everybody. It really does. Again, just go back and watch the original movie and you'll see exactly how it works out. And keep in mind as well, they're saying like, oh yeah, girl power and stuff like that. She was released from a mental institution, so it's not like she was all there anyway. So the two writers are best known for their animated feature K-Pop Demon Hunters, which became a global sensation, produced by Sony Pictures Animation and released on Netflix. The musical film was the platform's most streamed title ever and soared on international music charts thanks to its incredible soundtrack. I'll take your word for it, I've never watched it. K-Pop Demon Hunters earned multiple awards nomination, including 3 Golden Globes, 10 Annie Awards, and 5 Grammys. It won Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song at the Critics' Choice Award. The film was also Time's 2025 Breakthrough of the Year. You think Frankenstein or something would have been that, but okay. There is currently no official release date for Attack of the 50-Foot Woman at the time of this article's publication. So, as of now, they're just seemingly writing it. So, there's a lot to like, but at the same time, when you hear some of the stuff they're saying, there's a lot to be worried about as well. I think Margot Robbie would be a good choice for this type of character. I think Tim Burton could do something incredibly unique and stylistic, you know, in the look and tone of the movie. It's just that when they're like, oh, we're obsessed with the idea of a woman wreaking havoc because a man did her dirty, and it's the case of, we're sure a lot of people feel like that. The only part about we have a feeling a lot of people will relate is what they mean to say is we're sure a lot of women will relate. That's the only part they're leaving out on that. So the whole girl power type thing is where you're kind of going, are we doing this again? But in the hands of Tim Burton, I think he could pull back on that a bit and make it a little more interesting. Then of course the question would become, well, who else is going to star? Now, that's also to say, they're saying they want to write the movie that way, but what's the chances that Tim Burton wants it to be a little different, that he doesn't want it to be the case of, oh, it's just she becomes gigantic and wants to get revenge on a cheating husband? What if he wants to change it? You know, there's also that possibility. So for now, like, have a bit of concern, but at the same time, don't rush out right now immediately just to go, oh, this is going to be a disaster because it's more girl boss crappy crap, which it very well could be. But I think I'm putting more faith into Tim Burton than anything else. So, and we see what he does with female characters, and, you know, they always have flaws, and that's the more important thing when you're doing female characters. Like, when you're hearing, oh, you know, girl power, what that always means is the girl has no flaws. That's the thing that's always missing with female characters nowadays, is they've no flaws. You know, they're just the best at everything. There's no issue with them. That is where people go against these characters. You do a character where they have flaws, you know, they have vulnerabilities and stuff like that. That's where they work, and that's where they work best, and that's where especially male audiences will accept them. That's why a lot of men accepted the likes of Ripley and, you know, Sarah Connor and even Lara Croft and stuff, is because they have weaknesses. They have, you know, emotional outbursts and this type of stuff. You know, they're not the best at every single thing they did and stuff like that. They have flaws. So if they can write the character that way, where she does have flaws as much as anyone else, and in the hands of Tim Burton and Margot Robbie as well, I think it could work. It could work, but, you know, we'll wait and see. And of course, at this stage, we don't know whether or not this will end up on the big screen, or whether it'll end up being a Netflix type thing or something. It sounds more like it would be made for the big screen, and I think Tim Burton would be kind of pushing for it to be on the big screen, but only time will tell. But what do you guys think? Would you be up for seeing a Tim Burton directed, Margot Robbie led, and K-pop Demon Hunters written remake of the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman? And do you feel a little concerned by hearing the whole thing of girl power and stuff like that, or do you think we're reading too much into it? Let us know. And with that, shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill. Cheers. Catch you in the next one.